Hello, welcome back to my haunted library. It's Regina. So I don't know about where you live, but we have had a very snowy winter and I am loving it. Now it is a pain to dig out your car, but there's just something I just love about the snow. And last winter we had no snow where I live in Pennsylvania, so I'm really enjoying this. So I thought I would feature today some books from my own library that have a snowy feel to them or a snowy theme. So the first one is A Simple Plan by Scott Smith. And I found this in a thrift store and it has a great little step back cover. This was my number one read for 2020. And I really love this book and I love the movie as well. And it takes place in a very snowy world where a plane crashes in the snow, in the blizzard, and a couple guys find the plane. It's a small plane, and inside the plane is a bag filled with a lot of money, millions of dollars. And that sets in this whole tragic story that just goes from bad to worse. And it's these two brothers, and it gets into their relationships and and the one guy's wife and what people will do for greed. It's an incredible book. It's an incredibly written, beautifully done, and I just cannot say enough good things about this book. And I know I will be reading it again. So if you have never read A Simple Plan, I think if you're snowed in somewhere, it is the perfect snowy read. All right, so the next book is one I've read several times and have seen the movie, probably more than I can count, and that is The Shining by Stephen King. This should come as no surprise. Especially, I think the movie really captures the feeling of being snowed in and the paranoia that results. There are difference of opinions about this adaptation, but I feel like the best way to look at both of those, the book and the movie, is to look at them as two separate entities and appreciate them on that level. So definitely The Shining. I've read this many years ago when I was a kid, but I also reread it a few years ago, and it is a classic. I will always come back to The Shining. It's a great book. So this next book I feel like is the quintessential snowy read, and that is Ghost Story by Peter Straub. Most of it takes place in this small New England town where everything's covered with a blanket of snow. The way the author describes it and describes the snow, you really get this feeling that you are trapped in this town. And he's such an incredible author. And the movie is also very good. I've done a video about the movie too. So I definitely recommend Ghost Story if you've never read it and you're looking for a creepy, kind of a slow burn, more of a literary novel, I would say, than a paperback from hell type of book, but it's definitely great to read in the winter months. So this next book I have not read, but I think I will read it immediately just from looking at the cover, and that is Blood Farm by Sam Siciliano. This cover is fantastic, and just looking at this cover makes me want to read it immediately, so I might just start reading that, although I'm reading like 5 other books. Same with this one. This book has been on my shelf along with these other Darcy Coates book for a while, and I know Merce over at Harpies in the Trees really likes this author. And again, just looking at this cover makes me want to read it like today. So maybe I will start this one too. And that is Voices in the Snow by Darcy Coates. I have a few of her other books, so I'm not sure if I should start with this one, but just that cover is very seductive for a snowy day. And the last book is another Stephen King, and that is Misery. This book I read many years ago when it first came out. I've seen the movie many times. I love both, and I just started reading this again. So this story is about an author named Paul Sheldon who gets caught in a blizzard in Colorado and has a car accident and is rescued by a woman named Annie Wilkes, who takes him back to her little secluded farmhouse in the middle of nowhere and starts to nurse him back to health. She happens to be his number one fan. I really feel like Misery, the film, is one of the best adaptations of a Stephen King novel. Right up there, probably with Dolores Claiborne. Both are starring Kathy Bates. The movie is fantastic. And this is the kind of Stephen King book I really like. It's not too long. It's very contained story, plot-driven, character-driven, incredible descriptions. I've just read a few of the opening chapters. And just the description of Paul as he realizes that he's being rescued and the image that really sticks in my mind about how he realizes that someone is giving him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. He's starting to come around again, and he smells her fetid breath and the gravy and from her dinner. I mean, it's really, really good. I really feel like Misery is one of his best and one of my favorite Stephen King's. And just to plug my own story, I wrote a novella recently, published it, called Snowblind, about a sort of a similar theme about the being trapped in a isolated snowy location. This one is up in the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania. So it's a murder story. It also deals with monsters of the human kind and the inhuman kind. So it's a little bit of a, I don't know, snowy fable in a way. And I'm very proud of it. And I would love you to check it out. So I'm going to list that below along with all the books that I mentioned. If you have any recommendations for good books to read on a snowy day, please list them in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts about that. So please stay warm and safe, and I will see you next time in my haunted library. Bye!